want to welcome everyone to the September 12th City Council meeting. Welcome to folks at home, welcome to folks who are here to speak to us tonight, and also welcome back council from vacation. So back to work we go. The first item up for the evening always is a public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for individuals to speak to the City Council on any city-related issues, except for those items which have already been heard by a hearings official or are on tonight's agenda as a public hearing. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. When you come to the podium, please give your name, city of residence, and for Eugene residents, your ward if you know it. The timer and lights indicate the time you have to speak. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of 3 minutes. So I'm going to open that forum, and we have 3 people signed up right now. Gary Jenkins is first, followed by George Cole.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. I come to you this evening. I came to you a little over a month ago with some issues that we had with the City of Eugene Chief, Mr. Kearns, and a situation that arose from the March 13th incident with my son. We have now been informed and told that the police auditor sees a resolution to the problem that they have caused towards this family, which is, I might say, still homeless and unable to find a place of residency because of being a felon for something that they did not do. I'm looking for some type of direction or guidance before I go into this mediation with the chief of police and whoever helps mediate that. I'm not looking to jump into the lion's den, so to speak, not knowing where to go or what to turn. It's a travesty what's happened to my family, and there's a resolution to the whole thing. All you would have to do is give the police officers that were involved in the incident a polygraph test and give my family a polygraph test, and you would know who was telling the truth. If there's any way to reopen this into any type of investigation to where that could happen, we would greatly welcome it. My family has been done a great injustice. I'm trying to get our family back online. My son now has some brain injuries that occurred from that beating of that excessive force that was done to him by the police officer that did that night. We are asking for some direction. This is supposed to be a compassionate, caring Eugene, and that's what we're asking for. Somebody to give us some type of guidance and direction on what we should do next. I'm grateful that the police auditor and somebody has recognized that, yes, somebody has done something that wasn't right, and they're willing to mediate it. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm trying to look into it, and I'm looking for some advice. So if any of you council members have any suggestions or can guide us or lead us in the right direction, you have my address. You can contact me email or contact me by a letter. Like I said, I'm looking for some type of direction. I don't want to go into some type of mediation program and wind up worse than my family is now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is George Cole, followed by Bob Maccheroni.
My name is George Cole, 2760 West 11th Avenue. Good evening. Just like to remind you that the EMX opponents are still active. And the reason we're still active is because we feel that it's not a wise expenditure of funds. We feel that the transportation needs of the community can be met by restructuring the routes. It's just that simple. I was in a meeting at LTD tonight, and I had a hard time sitting there because I am a barbarian without documentation. But they keep changing the criteria, and they admit that. And they even alluded that after they spent the money for the west expansion, they might have to restructure routes. The other thing I'd like to bring up is that they keep bringing up that this is a computer model that forecasts the future. I'd like to remind you again, I'm sure you're tired of hearing it, but I was gored by LTD 10 years ago for $160,000. I'm still paying for it. I don't like that. And the reason is that they were going to take my property for a 100-space park and ride lot. And they had made a small technical error, and an out-of-town attorney caught it, and we settled out of court. That's the only thing that saved me. They have the power of eminent domain without representation. That's the lot that they build is at Fred Meyer's, and I've been checking it. I checked it at 2 o'clock today, and there was 5 cars there. That's a 43-space lot. And the thing I didn't like, originally when they were going to take my property and put a 100-car lot in, one of the board members said, well, we're not going to pull off the road to stop the bus. We're going to stop the bus in the street so that the population will be so disgusted with the traffic jam that they'll have to ride the bus. I think that's an infringement on freedoms. Thank you.
Next is Bob Maccheroni.
Hi, I'm Bob Maccheroni. I live in a 1994 Brewer. I have a business right downtown at 6th and Lincoln. You obviously all know who I am because I've been here before. Mm-hmm. Since I was here last, I had asked you all to help me out with a free speech issue. Since then, you've been on break. Some interesting developments in that I filed my appeal, and post me filing my appeal, the ACLU sent the city a letter and asked them not to stop in trying to enforce their sign code because they said it was legally indefensible. The city hasn't stopped trying to enforce their sign code on me. And so I don't quite understand why. I don't know if all of you have a copy of that letter, and I don't know who's directing the city manager to proceed with the city attorney. So I'd like to pass the copy of the letter from the ACLU to all of you so you can read it yourself. It proceeds to say that you can't use confidential informants to enforce your code. The code is content-based, and you can't do that either. And it goes on to state a variety of things, which, of course, the city attorney disagrees with all of them. But I'm wondering why we would allow the city to generate this much paperwork for thousands of dollars worth of taxpayer dollars in a case that they really have no hope to win, and that all they have to do is sit down and rewrite your ordinance so it meets the letter of the law. And so I would ask that council would redirect the city manager and the city attorney to stop enforcement of this until it's an enforceable ordinance. Instead of, how far would you like to go? Supreme Court? Whose taxpayer dollars are you going to use there to get there? And you're going to lose. You know, we all, no matter where you stand, one thing you have to recognize is that probably the ACLU has a better idea of what's enforceable and what's not when it comes to constitutional law on free speech. And so why are we continuing here? My only crime was I disagreed with the mayor and some city councilors' plans to donate the infrastructure of Eugene to LTD. I still don't believe we should be giving one lane on 6th and 7th to LTD to run 6 buses an hour in. I don't believe the route's appropriate. I don't believe the route's needed. I don't believe that LTD is even being honest about how they generate their figures. So I ask that you vote on that throughout the city. Thank you.
I'm going to close the public forum and ask for comments from City Council. I don't see any comments. I guess one comment I would make to Mr. Jenkins is that you are doing the best thing, which is working with the auditor. That's his responsibility, and we don't have that as part of our charter responsibility. So, okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent calendar. Council President?
I move to approve the items on the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Councilor Farr?
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry for not asking this prior to the meeting, but I'd like to pull the minutes from June 27th for a separate vote, please.
And can you explain that?
There's no change in the minutes. I just would like to have a separate vote on those minutes, and I will have a small statement at the time that we vote on those.
Right out there be pulled. Okay, so we're going to vote on the rest of the minutes, except for the July 27th? Is that what you said? June 27th? Okay. All right. Please vote. 8 in favor and none in opposition. All right. The June 27th work session minutes. Councilor Farr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just ever so briefly, I'd just like to point out that there was a motion made to display the U.S. flag at city council meetings. There were some city council meetings where the U.S. flag had not been displayed, and just for the record, that has been corrected, and the U.S. flag is now displayed in the McNutt Room. Thank you.
All right. I think we're now ready to vote on the June 27th work session. Would you please vote? 8 in favor and none in opposition. It passes. Thank you. Next item up for discussion is the action item, adoption of Resolution 5041. Council President?
I move to adopt Resolution 5041, concurring with Lane County's findings regarding vacation of portions of county roads within the Lane County Fairgrounds.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Before we vote on that, Assistant City Manager, you want to explain what this is about?
Yes. So the Lane County Board of Commissioners conducted a public hearing on August 17, 2011, to vacate portions of Fairgrounds Entrance Road, which is actually County Road 2253, and Fairgrounds West Entrance Road, County Road 2267. The council is asked to adopt a resolution concurring with the county's decision to vacate the entrance roads. They are fully located on Fairgrounds properties owned by Lane County and not part of the city's street network. Oregon statute requires the city to concur by resolution with Lane County's approval to vacate county roads within the city limits. It's my understanding that county and city staff have resolved all emergency service and bicycle routing concerns. And if you have additional questions, Peggy Kepler from the Public Works Engineering is here to answer to those.
So could you please just give me more information about what happened with the bike issue specifically?
Yeah.
Peggy Kepler, Public Works Engineering. The county had originally decided to vacate all 3 entrances, and the one entrance that went from Monroe Street, this traffic signal there, over to the Fair Loop Road, we had a lot of bike interest to make sure that that remained open. We worked out a possible solution of not vacating 9 feet, the north 9 feet, but they ended up just pulling that whole section out. So we'll continue to work with the fairground staff to make sure that we have proper signage through there, but that should maintain the bicycle traffic.
Thank you. All right. Councilor Poling?
That's me.
Oh, it is. All right, Councilor Salenka. Well, they're switched.
You woke me up. Thanks for that explanation, but I'm still confused.
Okay.
I have the picture, but that didn't help me that much. Maybe you can use the picture to help explain the bicycle pedestrian issue and what's not being vacated that was being vacated.
All right, let me pull that up.
Exhibit A, page 5.
Thank you, so much quicker. So when you look at the area that's in front of the administration building, and it's crosshatched there. That administration building is right before the display buildings there. That is the portion that's not going to be vacated. They originally had planned on vacating that with the portion that's on the west, that dark area. And then also down at the southern end of the display buildings, you'll see a little dark patch.
So
Very short segment, yeah.
right, so the dark sections will be vacated?
Yes,
And the crosshatched or white sections will not?
that's right.
Okay.
And from the Monroe Street, there's a traffic signal there. And then the bicyclists would be able to go through that area, that crosshatched area. Then along the north side of the administration building, there's a sidewalk there, which we're working with the Lane County Fairgrounds staff to make sure that that's signed so that they know that they can go across that sidewalk over to the Fair Loop, which is the
2253?
it's the long straight piece that says 2253 remains unvacated, and that allows them to get across and then down at the neighborhoods to the south.
Cut through from 13th over to 11th?
Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
Councilor Clark?
Thank you, Mayor. I was actually more concerned about the questions that the fire department had with regard to safety. I know they were answered, but I was looking for more detail about what their concerns were.
They just had some access issues. They wanted to make sure that if they vacated it, they could get in there. And they have been worked out a program with the fairground staff, so they have access at any time that they need it.
So they can still enter at that location?
Yes, and even the ones that are being vacated, they will have access through the gates there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready to, thank you for that. I think we're ready to vote on this. Would you please vote? 8 in favor and none in opposition. So now we are going to end the city council meeting, and then we're going to meet over in the nut room for an executive session. So, thank you.
Butte.